Hi there, welcome to Floating in Books. Today I have a slightly different video for you because I just wanted to sit down and have a chat to you about online aesthetics. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me here today. I like to come on this channel once a week to chat about more lifestyle-y things. I have a main channel which is more so about makeup, and over there I do something that I like to call a tea time chat, where I sort of talk about things that I'm seeing in the makeup industry and just have a chat with people about things. And I was like, you know what? I can do that on this channel here as well. So I talked about sustainability in the past as well. And today I just thought it would be fun to talk about aesthetics, because if you've been in the online sphere in any way, shape, or form, then I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about a little bit. So let's just get into it. So I'm not sitting down to film this video with a plan of what I want to discuss with you other than the topic. So if it seems a bit rambly and I'm going from left to right and you don't know, it's difficult to follow my train of thought, then that could be why. It's not as if I have like a list of notes and that's what I'm going off with here. But I just thought we could have a chat because I don't know how you guys feel about it, but especially this year, and it's something that keeps cropping up in the online beauty community, but also in the fashion community and other communities that you can identify online, where it's very much about more so about how things look rather than the actual content, you could say. So while I love things to be pretty and to look at pretty things, I do sometimes think that it can distract from content being actually good, which is why when I joined TikTok a couple of years ago, I thought it was very refreshing because there was less of a focus on super stylized videos like we got on YouTube after a while, and also on Instagram that started happening. But I'm sort of seeing that also on TikTok. The more successful creators are the ones that have incredibly good lighting and audio and sort of very edited down videos that aren't just, snappy and with a hook, like not just content-wise that grab your attention that way, but they also look pretty. And the people in the videos are often very pretty as well. And this was definitely something that, like the heyday of Instagram, what I really started seeing there is that, especially within the influencer sphere, all of these creators started to look the same. And it was as if people started doing things just because they were trending or because it was deemed to be aesthetic. This also happened on YouTube for a while. I mean, who remembers like the burning candle in the background of a lot of beauty creators back in like 2012? Everybody was filming in their bedroom with their bed nicely made up, and it was this whole vibe. And I do think that if you're very sensitive to this, that you might be missing out on people who may have a lot of interesting comments to share with you, but whose videos are a little less aesthetically pleasing. And that's just sort of like the main point of what I wanted to make here. I'm sitting in front of my bookshelves. My bookshelves aren't the most aesthetically pleasing bookshelves on the planet. I haven't curated them down. I'm not hunting down certain hardcovers or special paperback editions from owl crates to style my bookshelves. My bookshelves are a living creature, you could say. They evolve, they change, I reorganize them, I declutter books. Once the books no longer have a function for me, I have no issue of letting them go. And I know that some people, especially within the book creation sphere, some of them pretty much only go off of audiobooks, and then they buy a pretty physical copy to put on their shelves. And then the shelves are very stylized, and maybe they have the fairy lights. That was a trend for a while. Some people like spice it up with some Funko Pops and things like that. And I've never been very inclined to do anything with my bookshelves other than put books on them and try to maximize space. That's been like my aesthetic. It's like, okay, I only have this much space. I don't want to buy another bookshelf just so I can fit more books. That's not the life I want to live. I'm happy with the amount of space I have. But if I can reorganize it, like I did over the summertime, to create more space for myself I'm happy. But I don't want to add on another bookshelf because this thing is already massive. I mean, it's 4 shelves. There's one right here, which you can't see. And then as you can see, I've got 3 more, and they are pretty much up to the ceiling. They're not touching the ceiling, so you can still go on top if you'd like. But I didn't want to move these. I just didn't want to have even more. Like, I could easily fit another one over on this side. Like, I can push things a little bit more towards my kitchen, and I could very easily have another one on this end and make it like a 5 bookcase. I could very easily do that. And maybe I can spread them out more and display my books in a much more aesthetically pleasing way. But I don't need that in my life. I need things to be functional. And if it's pretty, then yay. But I don't need things just because they're pretty. And this is something I've definitely seen, like with Instagram, like people having these very curated corners of their homes where they either film or take pictures or do things like that. I definitely have a couple of like curated corners as well, but they're not always that curated. And I'm just over here living my life and doing things. I'm filming this in my home. I don't have space for a separate studio, and I'm not gonna live my life just trying to fit the aesthetics of that I need to have to create videos. Like, I'm not gonna live my life like that. Sure, I keep things clean and organized, but that's just who I am. I've always done it. I used to live in an incredibly small space before this, so I had to keep organized because else it would just be incredibly messy super quickly. So it's just habits that I haven't gotten rid of over time. I'm very happy that I now have a separate bedroom where I keep most of my clothes, and where if I've done laundry, I can just chuck it down onto my little couch and I don't have to look at it for the next couple of days until I actually feel I have time and space in my brain to be putting everything back into the closet. That's just the way I do it. So yeah, I just feel that this very curated style of video is sort of, the more popular a platform becomes, the more professional things get, the more the expectation of every creator is that things are like that. But so many of us, especially the ones that aren't like the big names, have just a much more limited time frame to be filming. Maybe we have kids, like we have other things going on in our lives that make it very difficult to give you these incredibly curated spaces. An example I can think of from the top of my head is cleaning TikTok. I really, really like seeing them, but sometimes it also becomes a bit overkill because how many scrub daddies can I see in a single sitting? You know what I mean? So, and it's like, you need to use these products, like you need to use this hyped up product, and you need to use this hyped up product, and it needs to all come together. And if there's a new trend, you need to play into it. And the one thing that irks me the most about creators, like not the creation of these aesthetics, I don't mind that at all, but I do feel that a lot of people then start to do it because it's a trend or because they see these videos doing well. So rather than figuring out what their style or aesthetic might be, what ends up happening is that these people just copy paste like a template what somebody else is already doing. So rather than figuring out what works for you or what are things that you like to do, they see, oh, this is popular video A, they do this, this, that, and that. And you have a lot of accounts, especially on TikTok, of creators like teaching people how to do it. And it's always the same template. And I'm like, here's the thing. The one thing you need your content to do is to make it stand out from the crowd. So if 75% of people within a given community that you want to be part of are doing this list of rules, you're just going to be one out of many. And I've seen this a lot with some beauty creators being incredibly frustrated with, they put a lot of time and effort into their channel. And then because everybody who is popular on YouTube is doing, not Christmas in July, Vlogmas, they usually call it, which used to be about vlogs, but within the beauty community, it's turned into like daily videos from December 1st until like Christmas Day for a lot of creators. And then smaller creators start doing this as well because they see these larger creators doing it. But you need to ask yourself, is this what your audience wants? And is this something that's feasible for you? I know with December being like an incredibly busy month, because I'm in the Netherlands, we celebrate Sinterklaas. I've got a small niece and nephew who still believe in Saint Nick. So I know I need to celebrate that. There's a lot of dance things going on. I've got work things going on because trust me, if you're a teacher, the period leading up to Christmas is always somehow crazy because everybody gets ill. There's all these extra things going on. You have your secret Santas, you have your parties from work going on. How am I, like, it's just not feasible for me as a human being to fit daily video posting into that schedule. And so what I've seen people do is that they start doing it because they see other creators doing it, and then they're disappointed that their views are lacking. And I'm like, but if you are posting videos as a smaller creator at the same point in time that much bigger creators that have a much larger following are doing exactly the same thing you're doing, you're not going to be able to cut through the noise that is being created by these bigger creators. If you want to attract viewers, if you want to get seen, if you want to be discovered by new viewers, it's not doing exactly the same thing in the same way at the same time as much larger creators who you might admire. You need to find out your own spin on things, and you need to figure out what works for you. What level of editing can you offer? I'm very basic in my editing skills. I see some people do amazing things, and I'm like, wow, that 1 minute video took 3 days to edit. And I'm like, I'd love to go into that level of commitment, but again, I've got a job. I work in education, which is not exactly a job that you should take very lightly. I've got a social life. I've got friends and family who I'd like to see occasionally as well. I've got my dance stuff going on. I'd like to work out from time to time as well. I like to read books and sit down and have time for that. When on earth am I supposed to go and sit down and edit a video together with like things flashing into the screen and like overlays and even if I were to have time to film it all, when am I going to sit down and put it all together? So as much as I love aesthetics and looking at them, and I find it incredibly pleasing to see what people come up with, and I definitely take inspiration out of it, I always ask myself the question, will this work for me? And also, will this work for my audience? So every year on my main channel, I do something I call August palette month. So in the month of August, which is my summer break, so I actually have time, I post extra content over on my main channel, and everything is about eyeshadow palettes because that's one of my favorite things to talk about. And I do it then because time frame wise it works for me, and I've played with the idea of doing daily videos. But I've gotten feedback from my audience that because they also have lives and jobs and families, they wouldn't have time for me to be filming a video every single day and them watching it. So I'm like, okay, so an extra video everybody can watch and appreciate, and I get a little bit of extra views, and it usually helps my algorithm a lot. But I don't need to do daily videos because the people who are making up my core audience, who are subscribed, who watch pretty much every single video I do, and who are popping up in the comments, that's who I consider to be my core audience, tell me you don't need to do this. So I'm like, why would I go into burnout trying to chase something that isn't even what my audience wants? And of course, my audience over on my main channel is a lot bigger than over on this channel. On my main audience, I'm very, very close to 10K. So, and not all 10K people are leaving comments or whatever. A lot of people are just subscribed and they just watch things. So I know I'm not getting the feedback from everyone. And maybe it could work. Maybe if I were to do more videos a week, that I could get a lot more subscribers and my channel could grow a lot quicker. But here's the thing. There's also an effect that happens when your channel starts to grow that is something you need to keep up with. So once you've set a certain threshold for yourself, your audience will expect you as a creator to deliver that kind of quality consistently for the length of, because that's why they're subscribed to you. That's why they like to watch your videos. So I do think sometimes that that's something that people forget. And the creators I see disappearing, I mean, I've been watching YouTube for more than a decade. I think I started watching YouTube in like 2008. I've been reading blogs for such a long time. So influencers who disappear from the scene or who pivot and turn their career into something else are usually the ones that have built an audience based on something that doesn't fit their own norms and values. And because there is this mismatch, they grow exponentially really quickly, but the price they pay is that they just start having mental health issues. They can no longer keep up with demands. So I'm like more of the slow and steady approach, trying to find the people who actually want to watch me slowly over time, than casting the net very widely and trying to attract as many people to my videos as possible to get as many views as possible and to really build it up into a full-time job. That's never been my intention. And if it ever happens, then sure, but I don't necessarily need that in my life. I'd very much like to have another job on the side, actually. It gives me structure. It just really helps my brain. I don't think I could see myself sitting down to film videos and talk to a camera full time. I just need other people around me to be able to do a job, to be able to do my job and to do things. It just wouldn't suit me as a person. So I definitely think that happens a lot, where the people who do everything to a T, who follow all the ingredients, are also the ones who are not here long term. They're the ones who pop up, go viral within a year, and then after another year, you'd hardly ever hear from them. Of course, they have then created the amount of opportunities that they don't need to film content as often because they have other revenue streams that they can use to create the videos. But I'm sort of coming from the other way, where I already have another job on the side and this is just like my side hustle and I just like doing it because of the fun of it. So I definitely think that goes into it as well. So that's sort of where I wanted to go with this video. Do I like aesthetics? Sure, the whole dark academia thing and the cottagecore vibes, I'm very much down for it. But if you make your entire identity whatever aesthetic is currently trending, you're just going to struggle tremendously once that trend dies down. And with the start of TikTok, the trend cycle has become so short that before you've even been able to hop on the trend and get everything to be able to style your videos that way, people have already moved on from it. So I definitely think that finding who you are and doing what you like to do, and then trying to make sure that you're discovered by the people who like that as well, I think that makes for much more interesting creators to watch. So if you're looking for people to watch, or maybe you're a creator yourself and you're watching this, maybe you feel the same way, maybe you don't. That could very well be. Maybe you're just someone who really likes following trends and who likes to try out all these different aesthetics. I can definitely imagine you liking that as well. But just be very careful and mindful of who you are and where your preferences lie and where your audience's preferences lie as well, because you really don't have to fall down the trap of the rat race that is content creation. So please stay safe, stay sane, and don't overdo it for yourselves. That would be my main tip if you are a creator and you're watching this. So yeah, that's just my short take on aesthetics and why I do see that you can use them, but find the aesthetics that work for you rather than you working for the aesthetic. I think that's the way to go. It also goes with fashion trends, I feel. Find something you like rather than just buying whatever's trending. That's never worked for me. So yeah, thank you so very much for joining me today. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. I come on here once a week, so if you'd like to join me for more, I have a fashion video for you next week, so definitely stay tuned for that. And there may be a vlog coming up in the future as well, because I will be doing a little bit of traveling over the next couple of weeks, so definitely want to share with you where I'm going to, and if you want to see what I've got going on during my fall break. So definitely stay tuned for all of that content. I hope you enjoyed watching today. Subscribe, and then I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!